So this is All Saints Church, Castleconnell. The grounds here were originally a place of worship back in the 6th century, and then there was another building erected here around the 1400s. After that, that building ended up getting into such disrepair that the building we are in today was built at around the mid-1800s. Castleconnell has a huge history of gentry families, and this Church of Ireland church really held a huge symbolic presence for the likes of the gentry within the village. The grounds here have always been a place of worship from the 6th century on. At around the I think the church was destroyed, and the church that was here was destroyed by the Vikings in the 6th century. And then another building was built on the grounds of the church, which you can see the walls of still there. It's around the 1400s. That was always a place of worship. Then the building we are in today was built around the mid-1800s. It holds a huge amount of significance to the area, considering that the amount of gentry that lived in the area. You had very, very important families with regards to colonial Britain setting up base here and living here, including the Masseys, Baron Massey. You had John Fitzgibbon, who was the first Lord Chancellor of Ireland. But not only that, one of the most important figures that's buried here in the church and who actually died in the church was Sir Richard Burke. Richard Burke was the first Governor General of New South Wales and played a massively important role in the setup of Australia as a British colony. He actually founded Melbourne, and I think one of the first statues that was ever erected in Australia, and it was erected in Melbourne, and it was of Sir Richard Burke. He lived in Thornfields, which is about 4 miles away from here, and he, as legend has it, and truth has it, is that he arrived here, he was called to the house of the Lord, where he sat down on his pew, which I believe was the third one up here, and he passed away while attending service.
We're here in Castleconnell Boat Club on the banks of the lovely Shannon. The club was founded 35 years ago by a local man, Jerry O'Neill, and has grown and strength over the years. This year has been probably the most successful year for the club. We went to Ghent International Regatta and we were awarded the honour of the top junior club at the Ghent Regatta, which was a big international junior regatta. Just 2 weeks ago we won 3 Irish championships, and in the last week we've had 12 juniors representing Ireland at international level. We've also 2 lads rowing for Ireland in the World Championships in August. Yeah, so the last few weeks have been hectic for the club. We're very, very successful. The club is part of the community in that most of the kids here are from the local area. It's a great focus for kids. It's a very, very good sport to get kids off the street, because kids end up making a massive commitment to it. It's an endurance sport and takes an awful lot of commitment. So when kids come in at 12 years of age, they start off very slowly, but by the time they get to junior 18, they're training between 6 and 10 times a week. So it's a great way of occupying kids, teaches them great life skills, discipline, eating correctly and training very hard. So we've a mix. We've about 95 juniors here, and the rest are made up of senior rowers and masters, which would be, we'll say, elderly again, beyond seniors. You find here what happens with juniors is that a lot of them go off to university, and then they end up rowing with the universities that they go to, whether it's UL or UCD or whatever. And then when they're finished college, they tend to come back then. Yeah, it's an incredibly expensive sport from the point of view that the equipment is expensive. Boats cost in the region from 6,000 to 40,000. So it's a struggle the whole time to raise funding. We're very lucky. We run a fantastic triathlon here in the village every August, which has been very successful. We run a 10k road race and 5k road race in usually February or March, and we run 2 big regattas here. We run a big regatta in May, June, and we run what's called the Head of the River, which is like a time trial in October. So they'd be national kind of regattas. So they are great fundraisers for the club. Yeah, the club in the last few years, the local community has taken great pride in the club because it's been so successful really on the national stage. So it's great backing from the local community. Yeah, so we're doing a big job here at the moment. Last year we built a new boat bay and a new gym, and at the moment now we're in the middle of building 2 new boat bays, which will give us a lot of extra space to store more boats. It's a big job and it's very exciting.
So there's another character that's buried here, and his name was Thomas Gilly. Thomas Gilly was rumoured to be the illegitimate son of one of the kings of England. He ended up carving his own gravestone. That's actually, you can see inside the graveyard as it stands, and it's of a fallen tree with ivy embellishment on it, and it's quite a piece of engineering. It's beautiful. He was rumoured to be the King of England's illegitimate son. He was raised by a family called the Gillys, who in turn used to work with the ships and the boats and what have you, and hence getting the surname of the Gillys. But as to how much of that is true, it could go down as local folklore, but it tells a good tale. Of late, Limerick Art Council have started running some orchestral and classical musical concerts here, which has been of great significance, and because it's such a beautiful surrounding and venue, it really has opened the doors to the general public. And with the committee of All Saints Church and the various committees around Castleconnell, including ourselves, which I love Castleconnell, we've started to run more and more events in the church, really opening the doors and allowing the general public to feed in through this very important building. I think you could get lost by just walking around and reading all the stories on the wall. Each of the monuments tell a very important and interesting stories about the people that have been buried here and people that have been lost in wars, and it really is a very, very important historical building within the village and within the county. It's not just for the people of the village to enjoy, it's somewhere that people should be coming from far and wide just to seep up the history of the place, because it really does talk about a certain time in Ireland, and I suppose you could get lost in that history.